It was once just another forgotten relic, gathering dust in Universal Studios' backlot, rusty, tired, and listed for sale at a measly $1,500. But just months later, it would rise from obscurity to become one of the most iconic movie cars in American history. Milner's canary yellow 1932 Ford Coupe in American Graffiti wasn't just a car, it was a thunderous metal manifesto, a rebellious beast on four wheels, roaring through the neon nights of 1960s California and burning rubber straight into the hearts of a generation. But what made George Lucas secretly embed a code into its license plate? Why did this 1962-era hot rod have a future generation engine under the hood? And would you believe that this very car made a hidden appearance in another film, one no one noticed? Buckle up! In today's video, we're kicking open Hollywood's garage door to reveal 20 insane secrets about the most defiant hot rod ever to grace the silver screen. Secrets the studios never wanted you to know. Number 20. The $1,500 near disaster. Just before American Graffiti hit theaters, this now legendary car was nothing more than clutter to the Universal Studios prop department. Dusty, battered, and taking up space, they saw no value in it, so they decided to sell it off for just $1,500. A classified ad appeared in the Los Angeles Times. A few curious buyers came to look. One offered $1,000 cash, but Universal held out for the full asking price, and no one bit. Then the movie exploded. The yellow coupe became a cultural phenomenon. That same $1,000 bidder called back, now offering $10,000, but it was too late. Universal had pulled the car off the market, finally realizing they weren't selling a prop, they had a legend on their hands. In that narrow window, Hollywood nearly lost a piece of history to a hasty liquidation, all because someone couldn't see past the dust and scratches to the gold beneath. Number 19. THX 138, Lucas's hidden signature. On the back of the yellow coupe, millions of viewers saw it, but few ever understood it. The license plate, THX 138. It looked random. It wasn't. This was George Lucas's personal signature, encoded and hidden in plain sight. Before Star Wars, before Indiana Jones, Lucas directed a dark dystopian sci-fi film titled THX 138. It flopped at the box office, but launched his career and vision. When it came time to build Milner's coupe, Lucas requested the plate THX 138. A subtle twist on 1138, just enough to fly under the radar. It wasn't just an Easter egg, it was a personal nod to where it all began. That license plate became more than just numbers and letters. It marked the car as more than just a hot rod. It was a cinematic artifact stamped with the DNA of the filmmaker who would redefine Hollywood. And so, hidden beneath layers of engine roar and burnt rubber, sat a secret, known only to those who knew where to look. Number 18. The wrong Henry Travers debacle. When gearheads dig into the backstory of the American Graffiti coupe, one name keeps coming up: Henry Travers, the transportation coordinator who built the car from the ground up. But a seemingly innocent mistake turned into one of the most bizarre controversies among fans. Several videos and articles mistakenly identified Travers as the actor Clarence from It's a Wonderful Life, a man who died in 1965. A simple mix-up of names and faces, but it sparked outrage. "That's not the angel guy," one furious fan wrote. "He built the damn car, not granted wishes." In a community built on details, torque specs, paint codes, carburetor sizes, getting names right matters. The real Henry Travers never stood on stage, but his work lives on in chrome and gasoline. This wasn't just a name, it was the difference between honoring a craftsman and erasing him. Number 17. The time-traveling 327 engine. American Graffiti was set in 1962, but for sharp-eyed car enthusiasts, something under the hood didn't add up. a Chevy 327 engine which wasn't available until the 1963 model year. Why would a 1962 hot rod have a motor from the future? George Lucas and Henry Travers were fully aware of the discrepancy, but they had a bigger concern: reliability. The 327 was a proven powerhouse, common, affordable, and perfect for grueling night shoots. To the average moviegoer, a one-year difference meant nothing, but to hot rod purists, it was a fascinating compromise. If it made the car faster, one fan wrote, that's what any real street racer would have done. The engine may not have been historically accurate, but it was spiritually perfect. And sometimes, in Hollywood and hot rodding alike, the right choice isn't the period correct one. It's the one that gets the job done with style. Number 16. The real driver behind the race. On Paradise Road, in those adrenaline-fueled shots, we see John Milner gripping the wheel, eyes locked, pedal down. But in the high-speed scenes, that wasn't actor Paul Lamont behind the wheel. It was Henry Travers. Yes, the same man who built the coupe was the one racing it. Travers was an experienced drag racer. He knew every bolt and curve of the machine. And when it came time to push the car past the safe limits of a film set, the insurance company said no to Lamont and yes to Travers. Wearing the actor's costume and helmet, Travers launched the car down the asphalt, hitting every mark, every gear change with precision. The screech of tires and blur of yellow under the morning sky, that was the creator commanding his creation. Once again, the coupe wasn't just a prop, it was an extension of its maker, both off-screen and on the racetrack. Number 15. The 10-minute sunrise window. When the coupe arrived at the film prep shop, its interior raised eyebrows. Instead of a tough, street racing look, it sported a bright red and white diner booth aesthetic, straight out of a 1950s milkshake ad. It clashed completely with Milner's gritty character. But rather than strip and reupholster, a costly and time-consuming process, the crew pulled a brilliant trick. They dyed the entire interior black using commercial-grade vinyl paint. Every stitch, every pleat, every tuck-and-roll detail was carefully covered in a matte, menacing black. And the result? So convincing that most fans to this day believe it was always black. Only those who peer deep into the seams can spot the original red peeking through. This clever decision saved the production over $2,000 and delivered a darker, edgier visual that fit perfectly with the film's nighttime street racing tone. Sometimes, movie magic doesn't need CGI, just a can of dye and a little vision. Number 14. Hand-mixed canary yellow. Many fans are drawn to the coupe's brilliant canary yellow body. But for engine lovers, the real treasure lurks beneath the hood. It's not just the Chevy 327 that makes jaws drop. The real crown jewel is a rare Manafray intake manifold designed to host 4 Rochester 2G carburetors, a setup that looks fierce and sounds even meaner. Unlike mass-produced Elderbrocks or Offenhausers, Manafray intakes were handcrafted by a small California speed shop in limited numbers. By 1973, they were already collector's items. Today, a genuine one in good condition can fetch over $5,000. This wasn't just movie dressing, it was a performance statement. Those 4 carbs didn't just feed fuel, they fed the legend of Milner's coupe, turning it from a street machine into a cinematic weapon. A reminder that sometimes what's under the surface is where the real story lies. Number 13. The rare Manafray manifold. If you imagine the coupe was built with matching parts and clean engineering, think again. It was a full-blown Frankenstein. Every component from a different donor, a different era. The engine was a Chevy 327. The transmission? A bulletproof Super 10 4-speed, tough enough for engines twice as powerful. But it didn't stop there. The rear end? Pulled from a 1957 Chevy with 411 gears, perfect for streetlight drag racing, but made highway cruising scream with revs. Drive shaft, cut down from another car. U-joints, heavy-duty pieces sourced from a truck. To outsiders, it looked messy, but to hot rodders, this was art through necessity. You used what you had, you made it fit, and if it held together at 100 miles per hour, it was perfect. Milner wasn't driving a polished show car. He was piloting a raw, real machine, born from scrap, sweat, and the pure desire to go fast. Number 12. Bolt-on camera rigs. How do you film a moving car without drilling into it? That was the challenge facing the American Graffiti crew. They needed dynamic shots from every angle, but the studio had one rule: don't damage the coupe. Their solution? Ingenious, fully removable camera rigs bolted onto existing frame points. No welds, no holes, no compromise. The main rig, built from solid steel plates, extended behind the car like a diving board, sturdy enough for a cameraman to ride along during full-speed shots. A smaller rig mounted to the front for forward-facing angles. All components were painted matte black to disappear into the shadows. After filming wrapped, the platforms were nearly trashed until someone realized what they were: pieces of movie history born of quiet craftsmanship and engineering brilliance. Even off-screen, this car never stopped performing. Number 11. The California Kid Connection. 3 years after American Graffiti, the coupe returned to the screen. But this time, without fanfare, without credits. It played a supporting role, in secret. When filming The California Kid, the crew ran into a problem. The title car's engine bay was too cramped for close-up shots. Then someone remembered the graffiti coupe, still in storage at Universal. Its spacious engine bay and camera-friendly layout made it the perfect stunt double. So for every tight shot of a supercharged engine, you're actually looking at Milner's car. The intake was swapped, a few wires rearranged, and voila, Hollywood sleight of hand. Even the speedometer climbing to 120 miles per hour, shot inside the coupe with a new faceplate slapped on. Nobody noticed. But that's the magic of filmmaking. When you've got a legend in your backlot, you don't let it rest, you let it perform. Number 10. The sectioned grille magic. The climactic Paradise Road Race wasn't just the film's emotional peak, it was a literal race against the sun. To capture that perfect blue-orange dawn light, the crew had a 10-minute window each morning, right after sunrise but before the sky got too bright. For 3 days, clouds ruined the shot. On day 4, the sky finally opened. 6 cameras, 3 cars, and the entire cast and crew had to be in place before the light hit. There was no margin for error. If a car stalled or a camera jammed, they'd lose another 24 hours. When the moment came, they rolled on everything. The drag race, the crash, the stunned expressions, all in one seamless sequence. They nailed it in just 8 minutes. It wasn't just technical skill, it was cinematic instinct under pressure. And in that 10-minute sliver of magic, the coupe didn't just outrun another car, it outran time itself. Number 9. Painted over diner seats. The climatic crash, the 55 Chevy flips, explodes, and seals the film's final moment. Easy to write, a nightmare to shoot. The crew built a hidden pipe ramp in the grass. In theory, the car would hit it, fly into the air, and flip dramatically. But reality had other plans. Take after take, the Chevy bounced and landed back on its wheels, like a cat, balanced, stubborn, uncooperative. After 5 failed attempts, with sunrise fast approaching, the crew switched to Plan B: cables. They rigged lines to the far side of the car and had crew members yank it mid-pass. Even then, it took 2 more tries to get the car to roll convincingly. Harrison Ford, riding inside, later joked he felt like he was stuck in a human washing machine. Modern stunts use precision hydraulics and digital triggers, but in 1973, it was ropes, muscle, and sheer will. Number 8. Mismatched but perfect drivetrain. Milner's coupe wasn't just a star in American Graffiti, it also took on a stunt role in another movie, literally. In 1974, the crew of the California Kid needed engine close-ups and speedometer shots. Problem? The movie car's engine bay was too cramped for camera gear. Then someone remembered, the yellow coupe from Graffiti was still sitting at Universal. Its engine setup was wide open, perfect for filming. So they rolled it onto a soundstage, swapped out a few gauge faces, rerouted some wires, and voila, Milner's engine was now California Kid's. The speedometer shots? Same car, same setup, just different lighting. Watch both films back to back, and if you know what to look for, you'll see it. The rumble, the gauge climb, the hidden cameo. Hollywood recycling at its cleverest. Number 7. Motorcycle fender loophole. Those tiny front fenders on Milner's coupe? Most assume they're just a style choice, but the truth? They were a legal hack. Both in 1962 and during filming in 1973, California law required cars to have fenders covering the front tires. But full fenders would have ruined the highboy stance. That tall, exposed suspension was Milner's entire attitude. So Henry Travers got clever. He sourced a pair of motorcycle fenders, just long enough to satisfy the letter of the law, but small enough to be nearly useless. Mounted on custom brackets hugging the tires, they passed inspection. Barely, but they kept the car legal for street shoots. And then a funny thing happened. Hot rodders noticed and copied. By the late 70s, Milner-style motorcycle fenders became a trend in the custom car world. What started as a loophole became a legacy. Number 6. The Chevy that wouldn't flip. When Universal greenlit more American Graffiti in 1979, Milner's coupe needed a touch-up. The original lacquer paint had faded and cracked, worn down by years in storage and public appearances. They repainted it, same canary yellow, same visual formula. But one big change. California had banned lacquer paint due to environmental regulations, so they switched to enamel. To the untrained eye, it looked identical, but true fans noticed. Enamel lacked the deep, wet glow of lacquer, that shimmering finish that made the car pop on camera. Worse, enamel couldn't be spot repaired like lacquer. Every scratch meant repainting an entire panel. What once was a film-worn battle jacket now looked polished. Sometimes restoration means erasure. It's one thing to match the color, it's another to preserve the soul. Number 5. Ignacio versus Sonoma, Birthplace Mystery. After more American Graffiti wrapped, Universal decided they didn't need the coupe anymore. But instead of a flashy auction, they went low-key, a sealed bed sale. Interested buyers submitted their best offers in envelopes. No haggling, no second chances. Highest bid wins. Steve Fitch, a devoted hot rod collector from Southern California, had been tracking the car since 1973. He knew this was a high-stakes gamble. Bid too low and lose. Bid too high and overpay. After probing the competition, Fitch submitted a bid, $35,000. When the envelopes were opened, he won, beating the next highest offer by just $2,000. It was razor thin. One more phone call, one higher bid, and history could have gone a different way. But Fitch's calculated risk paid off. He didn't just buy a car, he secured a legend. Number 4. Rick Figari, the 20-year-old Guardian. In 1985, a 20-year-old named Rick Figari did something few would dare. He bought the most famous hot rod in America. But instead of modifying it, racing it, or showing it off, Rick did something radical. He preserved it. No repaint, no upgrades, no modern parts. He tracked down crew members, documented every bolt, and studied every scratch. When he discovered the original red and white interior beneath the black dye, he left it untouched. That, too, was part of the story. Rick didn't see the coupe as a car, he saw it as a living archive. And through his quiet stewardship, he kept it alive, not just as a machine, but as a memory. Today, in the world of American hot rodding, Rick Figari isn't just the owner of a car, he's the keeper of a legend. Number 3, the $2,000 winning sealed bid. The plate, TX138, wasn't just a random string of letters and numbers. It was the beginning of a cinematic tradition, a hidden signature George Lucas would carry through his entire career. Before American Graffiti, Lucas directed a bleak sci-fi film called THX 1138. It bombed at the box office, but its style, tone, and vision became the foundation of everything that followed. When making Graffiti, Lucas embedded 1138 into the car's license plate, tweaking it slightly to avoid obviousness. Later, 1138 would show up in Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and beyond, Lucas's personal Easter egg. But it started here, on the back of a yellow hot rod. Quiet, unnoticed, but deeply personal. Sometimes the smallest detail can become a thread that runs through decades of storytelling. This was the first stitch. Number 2, the switch to enamel paint. It's a detail that makes purists flinch. American Graffiti is set in 1962, but Milner's coupe runs a Chevy 327 engine, which wasn't introduced until 1963. Technically, it's an error. Historically, a mismatch. But if you ask a real hot rodder, they'll likely smile and nod. Because in hot rodding, rules are suggestions, speed is the law. Builders used whatever parts they could find, borrow, or scavenge. If it worked, it worked. The 327 wasn't correct for 1962, but it was perfect for Milner. Powerful, reliable, and iconic. Some fans even justify it playfully. Maybe Milner had a buddy at the plant who slipped him a block early. In both film and car culture, accuracy sometimes takes a back seat to authenticity. And this car, it felt real. That's what mattered. Number 1, the $1 million car that wouldn't leave the spotlight. In 2015, Milner's coupe rolled onto the auction block. Estimates ranged from $800,000 to $1.2 million. Experts believed it could be one of the most expensive movie cars ever sold. And why not? It wasn't just a vehicle, it was a time machine, a memory, the sound of youth echoing through California nights. Bidding started strong, but then it stalled at $700,000, below expectations. And then the owner did the unthinkable. He pulled the car. "There are things you don't put a price on," he said. Since then, the coupe hasn't vanished into a private collection. It tours. It shows up at events. People sit in it, touch it, feel it. Because sometimes keeping a legend alive is worth more than $1 million check. Before we reveal that final twist, if you're as passionate about classic cars, cinematic secrets, and Hollywood's hidden legends as we are, hit that subscribe button, share the video, and let us know, which fact surprised you the most? Milner's 1932 Ford Coupe wasn't just a machine on wheels, it was time frozen in metal. The growl of its engine spoke for a generation, rebels, dreamers, and those who refused to be forgotten. It was almost sold for scrap. It was repainted, reused in another film, given a mysterious license plate, fitted with a technically wrong engine. But all these imperfections made it immortal. And in the end, when even $1 million couldn't buy it, we learned something deeper. Value doesn't live in a price tag. It lives in the emotions a thing can spark. So let's end today's story with one line worth remembering. Some cars are built to drive, but a few, like Milner's coupe, are built to live forever in our memories.